Good afternoon. I'm excited to be able to stand before you after a solid road win. Obviously didn't finish the second half the way I wanted us to, but just kind of rehash a little bit about the game. And I know we've had a history of not going there and being crisp and sharp, and thought the guys were prepared and played well in the first half. Mentioned, I think, after the game, just not pleased with the opening drive in regards to the first third down. Had a chance to get off the field and did not with the penalty, and then a couple third downs afterwards. But after that, settled down and didn't give up any points the rest of the half, and really played well defensively, offensively. Came out of the gate and never punted the entire half, and scored every time we had the ball, and really controlled the clock. 35 minutes time possession, really something we wanted to be able to do. Control line of scrimmage in that area. And then wanted to come out and finish in the second half, and really that's been our focus. And opening drive didn't get it done, and then just weren't able to kind of put them away and let them hang around, and then unfortunately turned the ball over, which we cannot do. And then they got a chance to get the ball in the end zone, and then it got interesting. So, but as I told our team today, really good talk about that whole process as we grow and continue to improve, and emphasize that the defense's last series was a chance to hold them to a field goal and a long field goal into the wind, and then the offense was able to come out on the field and get a first down, which is what we had to do to go win the game. So in that regard, we finished that last series, but not to our standard, and looked at the film, addressed that, and just continue to work and get better. But with some guys that weren't there, thought the receiving corps really stepped up, and as a complete group, and played really, really well. A lot of big third down catches and conversions, and thought Peyton Ramsey was just really tough, hard-nosed competitor, and very gritty, and a lot of key runs and key execution, key throws, good patience as he moved around and found guys down the field. So just kind of as we wrap up the game, from our perspective, defensive scout team player of the week was a couple guys, Joseph Daniels and Gavin McCabe, two young men that continue to work really hard and do a great job for us. And offensive scout team players of the week, Christian Paycheck and Connor Thomas, a couple running backs that give us a great look each and every day. And then special teams scout of the week was Justin Berry, a guy that just gives us a great look at receiver, all special teams, just whatever we ask him to do. Offensively, players of the game, we selected the 4 receivers, just felt like that they were big, as I already mentioned. Ty Freifogel, Nick Westbrook, Donovan Hale, and Ja'Shawn Harris, just as a collective group, making key plays. Hate that Ty got that touchdown taken away from him. Great play on his part, showed a great burst, and I just thought he was clutch many times, and so really pleased with his progress. He's really stepping up. Thought Nick did some great things, and Donovan continues to be an issue for defenses with his size, and they had to grab him quite a bit, and so that's what they pretty much have to do to control him at times. So then Ja'Shawn just is consistent. Defensively, Raheem Lane was our defensive player of the game. Boy, had some big tackles, really good coverage, continues to progress this season, and will need his growth and development throughout the rest of the year. And the special teams play was Mike Majette, just a great, dependable, great decision maker back there for us, and helping us keep our guys grounded and be a great leader on our team. So not our best effort from start to finish, but getting the W on the road is always the objective for sure, and really happy for our team to be able to be at this point in the season and in our first 5 games and finding ways to win our first 4 of those 5, and now we have a chance to get ready for the heart of our Big Ten schedule. So really important to get that last win on the road, and now we focus our attention to a very talented and very, very good football team in Ohio State. Obviously, they played well at Penn State. Most of us watched that, I'm sure. And to see them do what they did, to come from behind and score those last 2 touchdowns in the last 8 minutes to win on the road is a great testament to their program and where they're at and the level they're playing at. I've been here for my 3rd season. It's the most talented Ohio State team I've seen since I've been here. So very, very good football team on both sides, and in special teams, just a lot of playmakers and speed and athleticism and size, and very accurate quarterback, and very, very athletic defensive unit. So Coach Myers, as always, has a very talented team that's well coached and plays extremely hard. So tremendous challenge and opportunity wrapped up into one as we head to Columbus, Ohio on Saturday for a 4:05 kickoff on Fox Sports. Thank you. Questions?
You had a few more explosive plays this week. I'm just kind of curious, two-part question. How do you measure explosive plays in your programming? I guess what qualifies as an explosive pass, explosive run? And is there a target number two?
15-yard run.
Okay.
It's kind of how we gauge that, and we do it for offense, defense. We gave up 2 during the game defensively. Our goal is 0. And so obviously on offense, you want as many as you can get. So that's a ratio that we look at and compared to the opponent, just like the turnover ratio is a huge part in the game. The explosive play ratio, to me, what you allow or what you compared to what you gain yourself as a team, the difference is often the factor in the game. So trying to get more of those offensively for sure. That's a big deal. And that's, this team we're playing this week, that's what they've lived off of. They've really they've created a lot of explosive plays. That's kind of their formula, and it's been good to them. You watch the game the other night. I mean, they kind of just were held at bay for a while, and then bam, a couple big plays, and they're winning by a point when it looks like they were, the other team, Penn State, was kind of, dominating the game in some ways at that point, but then it all flipped. So that's a big part of our strategy and preventing them and trying to get them.
You talked after the game about the fourth down situation in the red zone and basically that you take a more mathematical, I guess, kind of deductive approach to those situations without asking for the whole Bible. What makes a situation like that more of a go for it than a field goal? I know you talked about it a little bit after the game, really, but in a broader way. Without
giving away complete strategy, I mean, the thought process, and I would say this for me, just as a coach and as I've grown, I would have always said in the past, hey, man, you got a chance to kick a field goal. You get as many points as you can get. But as I was challenged a year ago to in the offseason to go through and evaluate that mindset towards the difference between a 6-point lead or making it more. So obviously you score a touchdown there, you put the game out of reach. If you just kick a field goal, you get a situation where you're up by 13, and so they score 2 touchdowns and they win the game. Whereas if you score, then you make it a 3. They got to score 3 full times to beat you, and so. Kicking a field goal puts you up by, yes, they got to score a touchdown, yes, but then now you're only up by 13. And so that to me is, and even when you think about strategy defensively, if I know a team has to go just kick a field goal, that affects the way you call it. But if they got to go score a touchdown, they're down by 6, and the touchdown and the PAT wins the game for you, they're going to be very aggressive. Every third down is a fourth down situation. And it changes the whole psyche of how you approach the opponent when you're down by 6 or when you're down by, you got to have that extra touchdown. So bottom line is that we go through it and we have it. We're talking the whole time on the headsets. As a matter of fact, that comment was, hey, 13 doesn't really help us. We need to, book says we need to go for it. And then I guess I'll follow my gut. I mean, the book doesn't make me do it, but and that we do it at all for all fourth downs, whether it's 4th and 2, 4th and 1. We get, as we cross the 50, get in the field goal opportunity, we'll just say, hey, guys in the press box, hey, 2 or less is a go, 3 or less is a go, 4 or less is a go. It's based on time on the clock. It's based on the score. It actually configures our stats compared to their stats, put into that booklet before the game starts. So it's based upon our offense versus their defense and vice versa. So it's a whole, it's a chance to be able to play the percentages of the likelihood of your chance of having success. And then you got to go execute. I mean, there's no magic, wand to say, hey, this is the right way. You got to follow your gut at the end of the day. I got to follow my gut at the end of the day. The last call of the game, I didn't even ask what the book said. I said, we're going for it, so because I just knew we need to put this game away and go win it. So, at the end of the day, you try to, I've tried to grow in regards to how you approach it. Some people may disagree. It's like anything else. You make a call like that and it works out. You look like you really had a great plan and you look like you're a great coach. And if it doesn't, you look like an idiot, So, but I don't think that made us look like an idiot. I just think the bottom line is that you just kind of have to decide how you want to play that. And it worked out for us. And we'll always continue to, and we talked about it as our staff as in our meeting yesterday. And hey, we had to do it over again, but we do it that same way. And we all agreed, yeah, you got to go for it. Because we could have got a first down too. It wasn't like it was just, and if it had been more than the distance it was, we probably would have kicked a field goal, if it's too far to get a first down. But we felt good about the call we could make and go after it and execute.
I'm going to talk about Peyton a little bit. At the end, when you're going to try and draw him off sides, you get a special set, you put Hendershot in motion. You do, in fact, draw them off sides. But then Peyton understands that, I got a free play here. And he literally had the possession within himself to wave Hendershot down the field. Can you talk about it a little bit in terms of how he's progressed just in the last year?
Well, I mean, that was just a veteran play on his part, and obviously sealed the win for sure. But just to have an awareness about him and the confidence to be able to, because if you remember how there was confusion about the spot of the ball and the officials and this and that, and we're kind of, you're yelling at the guys, you don't want to take a timeout yet and everything, and so the clock was running in certain parts of that. So yeah, I mean, just thought it was just a tremendously heads-up play on his part, and they jumped and we obviously had the penalty, and so he did. He waved him to go, and he used his big frame and threw him a jump ball, and he came down with it, and the game was over. So, but I just think that he's a year older. May not have made that play a year ago, but he did now, and we try to work on as many of those. That's why we do situations still throughout the season. Every single Tuesday, we finish practice with a situation, and to be able to. No timeouts, one timeout, got to have a field goal, got to have a touchdown, whatever the situation may be. We have certain calls we use for all those different types of things, and we have to work on them. And but still, until they comes live and the bullets are flying and it's real life, you're going to find out if all your training, has been effective, and it proved to be effective on Saturday, and he was the reason why.
Can you update us on Luke Timian and WAP's status, and isn't it nice to have this redshirt rule now where you can play a Miles Marshall?
It really is, and when they passed the rule, I was like, man, I sure wish we'd had that last year, because we really could have used several guys. But thankful for the rule now, and it gives us tremendous flexibility when situations like this occur, and we're trying to get those two guys back. We don't know yet, still today, if they will be ready. They're trying to get ready. We'll know more later in the week, but they're working hard to get themselves back for Saturday. But because of the new rule, we can play some of these young guys and not hurt their red shirt and see them have a chance to give us some depth, and that's big, and so hopefully we'll be able to maybe get a couple guys back that didn't play on Saturday. We don't know. I really don't know any of those yet. I will know more here in a couple days, but we're trying to continue to maximize that rule as best we can and communicate with players and sometimes with families about their status and where they stand on all that. So, it just really helps a bunch, especially as the year progresses and injuries happen and situations come up, and you got to be able to, spot a guy here or there and not have to burn a whole year just for playing him for, or just even having him ready to play. He may play a snap. Now you put a kid out there for a couple key snaps, and it could be a difference in the game, because he's a guy that, is ready to play, but in the past you wouldn't have played him just for those couple plays because of you need to burn a whole season. So, yeah, it's great.
Guys, including Raycon, we're talking about his post-game message, and you've talked about wanting him to be more vocal, step into more of a leadership role. As a coach, what did that mean to you? A guy having the confidence after a win to sort of step out of his comfort zone, I imagine, a little bit and deliver a message in that setting. Yeah,
I just considered it growth. He actually came up to me, as we were walking. And I walked into the locker room, and he grabbed me and said, "Coach, I got something to say when you're done." And so I went. I didn't know what he was going to say. He didn't. I trust him though. I knew he wasn't going to say anything crazy. I did give him the platform. But I knew. I could just tell by his tone, that he had something important he wanted to share. And so he just had confidence to stand in front of his peers, and he didn't do it in a negative way. He just said, "Hey, it's great to get a road win. They're all important, but we didn't finish." And he took it personal, and that's what leaders do, and because we've made it such a huge priority of not just it's finishing drives, it's finishing the quarters, it's finishing the half, which we did a good job of finishing the half, and got a field goal there, which was big, overcame a couple penalties and stayed in field goal range and executed field goal. They had blocked several field goals throughout the season, so that wasn't a gimme, and but then you got to finish the game, you got to finish in the second half and be able to put teams away, and so he understood that, and it's always more powerful when it comes from a player, so to me that's growth from him. That's him stepping up as a leader. He's on our leadership council. We meet, on Monday evenings with the players. I meet with those guys, and I challenged them last week about some things, and then I saw some of that manifest itself, throughout the game and in that situation as well. So I just think, we're still, as we've said many times with him, he's a junior, yes, but he's very young in his playing experience. So I just feel like that the more those guys learn and grow and learn to step up and their confidence grows, they feel like they're empowered by me to say those things, and I think the guys will respond because they respect him.
Just Dwayne Haskins, what stood out to you watching him this year?
Quick release. He's big, very accurate passer, and if he has time, he's deadly. You know, he's really, really accurate and got a strong arm, and it's a very different challenge that he creates than since I've been here. You know, so just a really good football player, and he's not experienced by any means in terms of multiple years, but he sure plays like he is. You know, he's got a lot of poise and a lot of confidence, and he's got a lot of weapons around him, and he came up big, for them this last week, and they've had a couple games where they've really been tested, and the TCU game and then the Penn State game, and so he's done a great job, and he got the chance to play last year against Michigan at critical time and came up big then. So he's proven that he's a big time player, and is a guy that we have to have some answers for. But it would be a tremendous challenge to be able to keep him from being as effective as he's been. But that's what we got to do.
Could you talk a little bit about Jay Shun's reemergence in the passing game? I mean, especially in lieu of not having Wap and Luke available, and he gets 7 catches Saturday. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I tell you, just the kid just never ceases to impress me. I mean, I know returning punts is one thing that he does extremely well and been very good at, but to be able to play the number of snaps it takes to be a receiver in both preparation and during game day, with all of his history with his knees and all that, just a tremendous, once again, testament to his perseverance and his toughness and his fight. Just got so much to him in his core character that, and this team you just trust him, you count on him, you depend on him, and he comes up big for his teammates, makes great decisions back there with handling. They're always trying to kick the ball away from him, and whatever it's Aussie kicks or different, trying to get on the ground and roll. I understand all that. So, but he handles those well, and so you trust him with all that, and then just making plays, critical third down catches, several of them again, and we need him. He's a valuable part of our team, and with having Luke and Wap down last week, that was huge for him to step up, and that may have to continue, and the whole group's going to have to keep doing that, until we get those guys back on track and back healthy. So, just a valuable part of our football team in so many ways, and just can't be more. I've said it before, but I'll keep saying it. Can't be more happy for a kid to be having the success he's having, as hard as he's worked and what he's overcome. It's great to see.
Tom, when you look at I know you try to establish the run game in the second half of the ball game against Rutgers on Saturday, and looking back at the week before and that half of football, are you concerned about this offensive line right now and what they've been able to produce here in the last couple of weeks?
Well, I think that we had 1 3-and-out in the second half, and that was the first one, and we ran the ball 3 times there and didn't get a first down, and so that set a bad tone. I was disappointed in that and frustrated by that, but we were 50-50 throwing the ball, running the ball the rest of the half, but yeah, I mean, I think they have to, they got to be more consistent. To me, they played, did some good things in the first half, but it has to continue. It's got to be, we played a game for 60 minutes, and so that's a group that I feel like has got to continue to keep working. And a lot of it was communication. I was working together on certain calls and checks adjustments we make up front. Didn't think our running backs did a great job, and our staff would agree, of reading their blocks. That happened multiple times in this game, more than it's happened the entire season. So we working on that, getting those things cleaned up. So those guys are still young back there that we're relying on to run the football, and they're really just 2 true freshmen doing most of the running at this point. And so I think it was a combination of both of those, So I would just say it continues to be a point of focus for us, because you have to, as I always will say, that you run the football and stopping the run is where it starts and stops offensively and defensively. So it's a group that we have a lot of confidence in, and they need to keep progressing together and keep playing better each and every week, and going against one of the best defensive lines in the country on Saturday with Ohio State. So, it's got to continue to be a point of focus, and got to create some creases for our guys and allow them to be able to effectively run the football. But, Peyton was part of that too. So he he was effective and take some pressure off those guys in some ways. But yeah, they didn't play, and Coach Hitler would be the first one to tell you that second half wasn't to our standard of offensive line play, and we got to improve. And we actually looked at it I sat in there with them, watching a lot of the second half plays and different things we did, and so working through all that together. So we're all in it. We're all locked arms side by side, getting everything fixed and getting ourselves in position to keep winning games.
You referenced the fact that Penn State fairly well bottled them up until the final 8 minutes Saturday night. How much pressure, which is kind of similar to your game here last year, how much pressure does that constantly put on a defense?
It's never stops until that last whistle blows. Their playmaking ability, as we saw last year, we kind of did some really good things, and all of a sudden, bam, within a couple plays, they got two big long touchdowns, either catching a run or, a run itself, and their explosiveness and athletes that they have to get in space are impressive, and that's how they build it. That's what they want. That's what they do. And that's their philosophy, and it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And, I felt like last year, we really we struggled when we had to put some subs in, and those guys to be able to play at the level that we were playing at, prior to them coming in, wasn't able to be sustained. And so I just challenged our team when I left practice today was about how critical it's going to be that we get as many guys ready as possible to play in this game, to be able to create the depth and opportunity so guys don't have to play 60, 70, 80 snaps, like they did last year. And so they keep the guys, more of our guys fresh to be able to take better angles and not get us out of position. Because you get out of position, one step can be the difference against this team, with all their speed. And that includes special teams, So, that's an area that we've focused on and worked on. And we're not where we need to be yet, but we're getting closer in that area. So it's going to have to show itself on Saturday against a team like this.
Two-part question on Jamar Johnson. At what point did you know that he would be a guy you could trust to play at 5 different spots in the secondary? And I guess how uncommon is that when you can trust a freshman to actually handle that kind of responsibility?
Well, first of all, I'd say it's pretty uncommon. That's rare to have a guy that can do that physically. We don't have too many on our team that I could say, hey, this guy can play 5 different spots, in the secondary. And so. And say, when did we figure that out? I'd say once he got here. I would say probably once we, got into fall camp. After a few weeks, you could just tell. You saw the athleticism over the summer. I can't watch the football part of it, but just the workouts and the running, and you talk to your strength staff, and you talk about how they feel these guys move. And I trust those guys a lot to tell us the athleticism of our guys, especially when you get the new ones here and they spend a couple months with them. They'll know a lot. And then once you start practicing then the football part of it, because I knew he was in high school. He played both sides of the football, safety, corner, slot receiver, running back, all those different things, and returner. So you kind of say, hey, just like with Stevie Scott, hey, you recruit the best football players you can find, and you figure out which side of your ball you're going to put them on, where they're going to play once they get here. And so we kind of thought, hey, this guy could play corner or safety. Then you get the element of a Husky, which to me the Husky, the element there is a physicality to you, not just the speed and athleticism, but can he, have the girth and the size to be able to tackle Big Ten running backs, and so he's a 200-pound guy, and you saw the way he covered that route and snapped his head around, very natural, get the interception, critical play, huge play in the game, and I made a big deal about that because, as I said a week ago, he was really fourth string at that position, and because he was playing several spots, we had him here, had him there, and trying to get him ready, and then obviously we needed him due to the situation with Leno and then with Cam being out. So I think that he continues to impress us by what he's done, and really happy for him. He's got to keep working hard, and now the challenge is to kind of figure out moving forward, where is he going to be best to play, So, but it's great to have a guy that's got that flexibility and helps you become a better football team. He can help us on special teams. All right, great. Have an awesome day. Elio.